Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Computer America Show. We got a great program set up for you tonight. We're going to continue doing our DIY, segments, and we'll also add some computer news. It's going to be a fun show, so sit back, relax, and as we get started here on Computer America.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Grossman. For Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper, this show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's Tuesday show, and thanks so much for all of you joining us tonight on the program. We've got a great show planned for you tonight. In the second hour, we're going to continue on. We mentioned last night was our anniversary, our 24th year on the air, 24 years on the air, making us truly the longest-running syndicated talk show on computers and technology. So we're continuing on in that. One of the things that we're doing for February, it's a DIY month, a do-it-yourself, and we're picking different topics to talk about. And we're going to be interspersing that with computer and technology news in the second hour as well. We got I've been picking some topics. Ben has been picking some topics as well. So it should be a fun show. I am looking forward to continuing this.
Second hour tonight. The topic will be for DIY is how to be anonymous, secure, what have you. So VPNs. Tor network, that kind of thing. If you've ever wondered how to keep yourself anonymous and secretive, this is going to be the show for you.
Yeah, okay. If you have something to hide.
Yes, everyone has something they want to hide. Doesn't mean they're bad, just means that they know how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to discuss different methods. We're going to talk about VPNs and all the different things that are associated with keeping yourself anonymous when you're on the internet, especially if you don't want people knowing who you are, where you are, what you're doing. We're going to talk about that. Now, if you have any comment or question for our guest tonight or anything we're talking about, you can give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. We also have an email, live, L-I-V-E, at ComputerAmerica.com. It's a great way to reach us, get your question in. If you don't want to go on the air, you can do it that way. You can also join us in our live interactive chat room from our homepage at ComputerAmerica.com. Right in the center of the screen, you'll see a button there. It just says Chat and Live Video. When you click that, you'll actually get a split screen. On the left-hand side is where you enter into the chat room. Pick out a username. That's the name you'll be known by when you go into the chat room. Click the connect button, and your browser will move you into the chat room. There's some additional buttons there if you want to download some of the IRC clients that formats the chat room to look more pleasing, visually pleasing, but that's completely optional. And sharing that same page is our live Computer America video streaming page. That's right. Not only can you listen to the Computer America Show, you can also watch us. We have live streaming video. Myself, Ben is there, and sometimes we have our guests. Last night, for example, we had Easy Robot on, and we actually demonstrated the different robots. We could actually watch those. So it's a lot of fun, and we have that video streaming page up there for you to look at. Oh, and I see, Ben, you're at a different angle tonight.
Yeah. I don't know, the over the shot. I realized that my pretty mouth was being blocked by the banner, so I was like, we'll change it.
Okay, all right. Well, you look good. Yeah, it's nice to see that. And so those are the phone numbers, and those are the things that you need to know to interact with our show. So, anything else you want to mention before we get started, Ben?
Yeah, actually, we didn't get a chance because we didn't think about it last night. Super Bowl was on Sunday,
Oh,
and I just have to say, every single commercial was depressing.
yeah.
Oh, they were mostly different. I won't say every single one. There were maybe one or two funny ones, but for the most part, I don't know what car commercials. I don't know who told them go depressing this year, don't go funny. People aren't responding to funny, but
Whoa.
they actually had a commercial reenact the song "Cats in the Cradle."
Oh,
Enacted that whole song.
horrible. Oh my
Oh,
God. Yeah.
depressing. So. I don't know. Maybe the game was funny enough, so they decided that the commercials could be pretty heavy-handed.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
bad call.
no,
Mm,
that's all I would say on that whole
okay.
thing.
Well, there it is. All right. Well, let's go to our guest tonight. He's waiting patiently in the wings, and the name of he's with a company called Grovo. Now, Grovo solves the skills gap by teaching internet and modern professional skills to today's workforce with 60-second videos and a beautiful and effective training platform. Now, on average, I don't know if you knew this, workers lose 2 hours in productivity per person every day due to a lack of proficiency with core digital competencies such as managing email or working with documents and collaborating on projects. So Grovo is on its way for paving the way to learn in the new year. Joining us this hour is Jeff Fernandez. Jeff is the co-founder and CEO of Grovo.com. Jeff, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Hi, Craig, Ben, Jeff Fernandez here. I'm doing quite well. Thrilled to be on the show. Thanks for having me. How are you guys tonight?
We're all depressed over those Super Bowl commercials, I think.
Other than that, okay.
You know, I have to tell you, I'm not sure how you don't give Marshawn the ball, but I suppose it's a separate conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of introduced Grovo, but I'm sure you could do a lot better job in explaining to our listeners what actually is Grovo. What is Grovo?
Sure. So Grovo is the fastest, easiest way for organizations to train their teams in digital and professional skills. So there are three ways that we solve the digital skills gap that you described. First and foremost, we've created an in-house library of about 5,000 one-minute video lessons, each of which comes with a multiple-choice quiz. And number two is they all follow our proprietary micro-learning methodology.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they're very short, 60 or 90-second videos that are designed to increase completion rates and retention rates. Okay. And number three is we've built a platform that lives on top of our content library that allows our users to track their employee analytics and also ingest their own content, whether it's videos, PDFs, Word documents, etc., so that Grovo really becomes the central place for you to improve your employees. So at the end of the day, we really help businesses and universities stay ahead by delivering highly effective training on internet tools, cloud-based applications, work-related topics, or whatever it is that you see fit to train your employees on.
Well, now, who designs these videos? I mean, are these generalized videos teaching you how to use Microsoft Word, or are they, or you know, how to deal with customers? I mean, the topics are so wide and varied. Do you design these videos?
Yeah, so like I said, we've created 5,000 of them. We create about 15 new ones every day.
All right.
And they cover about 170 online topics and digital tools.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So there's a combination of live action, which is, you know, talking head, an individual or a person speaking to a camera, animation, which is exactly as it sounds, and then screenshot tutorials. And it really depends on the type of material that we're teaching.
Okay.
The content is broken up into these learning tracks, and they start with these fundamentals, and they build to expert-level tips and techniques.
Mm-hmm.
Again, 170 topics, digital tools. They range from, you know, Facebook and Twitter to Gmail, Google Apps, Asana, Basecamp, Dropbox, working with documents, working remotely, email efficiency, things that are meant to help you become more digitally proficient so that you become more productive every day.
See, now there's an angle I didn't think of. If you teach your employees to be more effective with Facebook, they'll spend less time because they'll do everything they need to do on Facebook, and then they'll get back to work. I like that.
Well, that's the idea, right? Facebook is actually a very powerful tool. And if you use it in the right ways, it's absolutely quite effective for work.
Now, I'm on your homepage here, and I'm looking at some of the things here, and I see different categories like platforms and attention, documents, communications, security, digital etiquette. What would one find under digital etiquette?
So digital etiquette is exactly what you'd expect. There are some, cultural expectations and mores associated with digital communication. And, unfortunately, there's not very specific education around what to expect, and it varies platform by platform.
Okay.
So digital etiquette is focused around how should you behave and how should you communicate on these varieties or these variety of topics and tools.
Okay.
And what you're describing is our digital competency model. Those 8 different core areas of the digital skills gap. So what we try to solve is where are you strong and where are you weak, and what can we do to deliver the areas to make you stronger, but also address the areas where you're potentially weaker.
Okay. Now, can people see an example of some of the videos that you have? Do you offer that when you go to the website?
Absolutely. So when you sign up for Grovo, you have the opportunity to take a look at a handful of videos. And if you make an introduction to your organization, you have an opportunity to take a look at all of our videos.
Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to just backtrack a little bit. I mean, this is an interesting concept, but when and why did you start the company? How did you come up, with and create this idea of videos?
Yeah. So it was the summer of 2010, and we were out to dinner. Nick Narodny and Sarag Mungek are my 2 co-founders. Okay. And we got a text message from our friend asking how to connect his Google Analytics to his WordPress. And it was really in that moment that we realized that we were getting very many of the same questions from all different kinds of people. And we identified that there was this digital skills gap and that it was affecting people relatively profoundly. And it's the kind of call that you get potentially, and sometimes that call comes and you don't necessarily think much of it. But for us, it struck us relatively deeply. And we had a conversation at that dinner, and we asked each other, well, how many types of questions have you gotten like this before? And all of us nodded our heads, and we said, well, a lot of questions like that. So it was just in that moment we recognized a profound need to solve this digital skills gap. And Grovo was born with the mission to empower the digital workforce. So we invested all the money that we had in the world, about $60,000 at the time, which seemed like an enormous amount of money, into running the company out of our apartments for about 9 months. And Grovo was born.
Now, where did you come up with the name Grovo?
So Grovo was born from a combination of 2 words, one of which is grow and the other of which is vocation.
Oh, okay.
So Grovo means to grow vocation.
Right.
And our focus now is to solve this digital skills gap, and it costs the U.S. economy about $1.3 trillion in lost productivity every year.
Wow, that's a big number. That is a big number.
Well, you think about how many folks are knowledge workers, folks that use computers every day to be effective at their jobs. And 9 in 10 actually feel relatively uncomfortable with the tools they're expected to use every day to be effective at their jobs. When that translates to about 2 hours lost every day, like you said. So it sounds like a very large number, but in reality, any time that you're at your computer trying to do something and you're not quite sure how to do it is an opportunity for Grovo to teach you how.
Okay. Now,
so these 2 hours that are lost per person per day, that's including of either just not knowing and waiting for someone to come and show them, or they do longer workarounds that they figured out that maybe is not the most efficient, maybe not the most efficient way. I mean, where are those 2 hours? Like, if someone was listening to this and they said, "Well, I know what I need to do. I can't be wasting time." Like, how would someone spot themselves wasting that kind of time?
So it's a great question. How many folks that are listening in right now have experienced something that they tried to do digitally, and they said, you know what, it's going to take me 2 minutes to figure this out, right? And 2 minutes doesn't really frustrate you, but 5 does, and sometimes 10 or 20 really does. And then you say, you know what, let me go ask someone who might potentially know how to do this. This happens. And it's each one of those circumstances, none of which seem egregious in the moment. But when you think about the number of times that potentially happens in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year, is relatively frequent. And that's where 2 hours a day actually comes into play. Because you know what, you're going to go to lunch, and you say, you know what, I'm going to address this after lunch. And before you know it, the thing that you were working on before lunch has taken you an hour to go figure out how to do and make happen for the business. And unfortunately, it's one of those circumstances where it happens to you very quietly.
Okay. So there's a lot of frustration then on a person's part when they can't do what it is that they want to do, especially if it takes more than a few minutes.
Well, absolutely. I think there's a bit of frustration, and in some cases there isn't frustration. There's almost acceptance that I need to go figure this out, and it's going to take me a little bit of time, and that's almost the worst part of it. We're trying to be very proactive in solving this problem and not necessarily being quite as reactive, that there is training available.
Okay.
If you bring your own device, if you're using these tools that are changing all the time, there should be training for that. The rate of training has fallen behind the rate of technology.
Okay. Well, you speak about something called micro-learning. What is micro-learning, and then what are the benefits of it?
Sure. So micro-learning is learning through short, bite-sized segments that are typically 60 to 90 seconds in length. And it's not about squeezing a full 8-hour classroom experience into a minute. It's about finding these application points. What do people really need to know to do their jobs? And it's approaching these needs very acutely, one at a time. And we break down this content. So we improve the engagement. Right? People do not have attention spans quite the way that they used to. We all know this. A 1-minute video increases the likelihood that you'll watch it through to completion, and it maximizes the retention for these learners. Moreover, it really combats this information overload. So according to a USC study, the average person today is barraged with the equivalent of about 174 newspapers per day. We just can't process that volume of information. And that's really where micro-learning can make the difference. If it's short, to the point, delivers exactly what you need, you'll watch it through to completion, and you will in fact retain the information.
That's why you're picking 60 to 90 seconds then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We found over the last 4 or 4.5 years of building the business that shorter videos typically are watched through to completion more than longer videos, relatively speaking. And the likelihood that someone will answer our multiple choice quiz questions correctly increases significantly.
Well, what can you teach in 60 to 90 seconds, though? I mean, in this micro-learning, I mean, what is you're teaching people? in these short bursts? You're obviously not teaching them calculus or something. You're teaching them something that can be learned in 60. What kind of skills could fall into that category?
So we believe that anything can fall into that category.
Really? Okay.
Because fundamentally, if you have a 10-minute video, why can't that be broken down into 8 or 10 one-minute videos? If you remove all of the fluff and really get to the point very quickly, it's a series of short one-minute videos that deliver the message, where you don't necessarily sit there and start daydreaming and thinking about something else. They're short, they're edible, you get an assessment after each one. We think you can do everything with microlearning.
Can you give us an example of a 60-second microlearning topic or something, a subject, and show? And just, obviously we're not playing the video, but is there something you can, off the top of your head, give us an example of a 60-second microlearning segment that someone?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So let's create. Let's take creating a Facebook page as an example.
All right.
Creating a Facebook page, obviously, you could imagine could take 10 or 20-minute video. That takes you through from the creation of the page all the way through to populating it fully, right?
Right.
Whereas in reality, there are a handful of steps along the way that very easily get solved with 60-second videos.
Okay.
That are very deliberate, they're very focused, and they solve something very acute. And when watched in succession, solve the very same need.
All right.
So it walks you through the steps that are required. And when you consider a topic like calculus, yes, there are some abstract concepts, but they're not all necessarily tutorial videos. Some of them are animated. Some of them are live action, real life people delivering a very succinct message. And when you deliver an assessment directly after the video, and someone has the attention span to watch the entire video, only 60 seconds, the likelihood that they're going to then recall that information and answer those assessments correctly and get some positive reinforcement that they got it right dramatically increases the likelihood that they're then going to be able to recall that information later.
Retention. Yeah, exactly.
It's retention. It's retention. And when we think about ROI for trainers, retention is really one of the most important topics. And it's challenging because fundamentally the content format needs to accommodate the vast number of sources of information that exist today.
When someone needs a lesson, do you provide, and we kind of mentioned the 6 or 7 or 8 different areas that you actually specialize in, but do you have a course set up, like here's lesson 1, and it's like, oh man, I really didn't get lesson number 73, so let me go back and check that out? Or is it just as they need to do something, they go find the corresponding video and bam, that's it?
Well, we accommodate both use cases. Right, so if someone has something very acute that they'd like to go solve, you're able to identify that in the content library and go solve it. At the same time, we cluster our content into learning tracks. And learning tracks start with the most basic, the fundamentals, and walk you through step by step from basic to intermediate and much more advanced. And as you walk through and consume a learning track, by the end of the learning track, you are very proficient in the particular subject matter to go execute the whole thing.
Okay. So let's take this further. Now are we talking schools here? We're talking companies? Are we talking individuals? Are we talking all these people and more that would use Grovo?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a great question. Grovo is really a turnkey training solution for any type of organization, from Fortune 500 organizations to universities, schools, and a variety of other types. Organizations use Grovo for employee onboarding, professional development, digital skill building, and, like you mentioned, just-in-time information. So the platform is really designed to be user-friendly, to be a pleasant experience, so that the experience can be very customizable. And we're also happy to make content as a service. In other words, there are things potentially that you would like your employees or staff, whatever it may be, to train and learn about that we don't necessarily have in our library. And we're happy to make that content for you.
All right, now take for example here. Let's put this on a more personal level. Ben was working for a pharmaceutical, a chemical pharmaceutical company, and he had to go in and learn some skills and train. And it took you quite a while to do that. Could they have used something like Grovo for him to watch, and would he have learned what he needed to do more quickly? These are obviously very specific skills.
So absolutely. So if we have, like I said, 5,000 one-minute video lessons covering digital skills. Likely there is an element of overlap in what it is that Ben would need to go learn. Now, the areas where we don't have the content coverage, we do offer the opportunity to ingest your own legacy training content, again, regardless of format, videos, PDFs, Word documents, PowerPoints, inside the Grovo platform. So you can ingest all of that as a trainer to make sure that Ben is up to speed.
But
at the same time,
would the company?
There are areas of.
Would the company have to develop those videos, or the company would work with you to develop those specific videos?
So both.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. So absolutely. If the company has those training videos or materials complete already, you can ingest them. If the company or the organization does not have those training videos, they're more than willing to accommodate the production of those videos, so that you're able to train your employees on those particular skills.
Okay.
In my defense, though, I knew more than they did, so I would recommend that they go and use Grovo themselves, at least the people who've been there, instead of coming to ask the new guy, hey, how do I open this, end this, it's a PDF, how do I print this out, how do I send this back to or sign, how do I sign an electronic document, things like that, that people really don't know.
Well, the 2 hours that are lost every day isn't necessarily just the questions that you have and the areas in which you struggle. It's also answering questions for other people.
Yeah.
Which, as you're onboarding new folks, we all know folks have a lot of questions. And in reality, a lot of that could be solved with digital skills training.
Okay. All right. So now this next question you ask, how does the platform work? And I am curious. I mean, what would can you explain a little bit how? Huh?
Do you have an app? An app for your phone?
Hello?
Yeah.
Are you guys there?
Jeff, I'm right here. Yeah. Can you tell us how the platform actually works? Do you have an app? How does it work?
Absolutely. So our platform is responsive on the mobile web.
Okay.
So it works on any device, whether it's Android, iPhone, desktop, whatever it is. It responds to the size of the screen. And our tracking and reporting tools keep employees and students really accountable and show trainers who's climbing the leaderboard and who might need additional help. So there's a lot of robust reporting tools and tracking. At the same time, for trainers, you're able to create and deliver the training right from the platform. And employees or staff receive automatic reminders when they're assigned these new trainings to make sure that they complete them, and they do so by the desired due date. At the same time, companies can upload their own videos, PDFs, PowerPoints, and more, like I said, and blend them seamlessly with our own content library. So it's extraordinarily flexible in accommodating a variety of use cases.
Interesting. All right, Jeff. Listen, we're coming to the bottom of the hour, so we're going to pause and then continue on with this. 'Cause this is a very interesting. I want to talk a little bit about what kind of success our customers seeing after using Grovo, and even how would you measure something like that. Let's pick that up when we come back. Okay. All right.
All right, that sounds wonderful.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Ben and I are talking to Jeff Fernandez. Jeff is the co-founder and CEO of Grovo.com. We're going to pause for some commercial messages and also a news tip bullet review from Marty Winston. That's all coming up here on the Computer America Show. 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. We'll be right back. You're listening to Computer America.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Tag, you're it. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Pioneer BDP-80FD Blu-ray player. Blu-ray keeps evolving, but we don't pay enough attention to it, so we asked to get the Pioneer BDP-80FD Blu-ray player in for review. Its decoders cover most of the video and audio specs you'd expect, including 3D. Its output is HDMI and won't send signals to a non-HDCP, that's copy protection respective device, like some computer monitors. It has a USB input for playing stored video and a wired Ethernet port for playback from across a network, or YouTube, or Picasa content. What you most want to know, it's easy, mostly a no-brainer. Easy to use, and playback quality is excellent. Bottom line, a Pioneer BDP-80FD Blu-ray player handles a 2D or 3D disc, file, or stream like a dream. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
33 minutes after the hour here on the Computer America Show. 347-884-8881. It'll get you on and get you through. Ben and I are talking to Jeff Fernandez. He's the co-founder and CEO of Grovo.com. And Jeff, just before the break, I sort of asked the question, what kind of success do customers see after using Grovo? And the follow-up is basically, how do you measure that? How do you do that?
So how we measure it, at its core, is really focused on the completion rates and the retention of the information. And the proxy there is the assessments. And it's something that we're exploring in 2015, this calendar year, of how do we approach ROI to make sure that we're delivering. And this is an area where the industry, frankly, has struggled. And it's something that we want to address very directly. It's not necessarily simple.
Okay. So basically, people report back to you, saying how we're doing really well. Is it in that type of form, or is it testimonials coming back to you? We love Grovo. I mean,
or do you have a little quiz at the end? You mentioned that you had a little quiz at the end.
More quantitative.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's much more quantitative. Our platform tracks a lot of data. It tracks all the actions that happen inside the system.
Okay.
So, in other words, we know when you create an assignment as a trainer, which of those assignments get completed, and for the assessments, which of those are answered accurately. And based on that information, we deliver all that information back to the trainer. So the trainer knows, and the trainer is able to set and say, hey, look, a 70%, 80%, 90% passing rate is required across the board so that you're able to get the certification that you pass this training.
Okay. So it's the trainers getting feedback, and people who are being trained are getting the same feedback, or the trainer actually passes that along to them?
No, so it's quite mutual.
Right.
So as one of the advantages of microlearning is that as you're watching a video and you answer that assessment, you're told very directly whether you got it right or whether you got it wrong. So it's this real-time feedback loop. When you look at your email and you get a new email, or you look at Facebook or whatever it may be, and you get a notification, there's actually a dopamine rush that's delivered by getting that instant sort of recognition. And part of how we're building Grovo is very much that way.
Okay.
Right, so that you instantly get feedback and you're getting a lot of it very quickly.
Okay.
Oh, that's not good. Eventually, you're going to have employees sitting there just like, oh, do you have another Grovo for me? I need my fix. Oh, come on. Give me a lesson.
So that's exactly what we find, believe it or not, is that folks that are assigned trainings oftentimes will go explore in the library on their own and go learn things that weren't necessarily assigned to them. Because again, the microlearning gives them the opportunity to do so on just a very truncated timeline. It's very accommodating.
Yeah, no, I could see that. Now, let me ask you this: what are you now seeing as the biggest issues in employee training and the workforce right now?
I'm sorry, you broke up there. I couldn't hear you all the way.
I said, what are you seeing as the biggest issues in employee training and the workforce right now?
Yeah, so really what we're seeing, the biggest shortcoming, the biggest challenge, is the digital skills gap that the technology has outpaced traditional training. And as a result of this, the workers, the businesses, and the entire economy is suffering. So, in aggregate, there are more than 200 million adults in the United States that are part of the digital workforce. Meanwhile, only 58% of them feel, or 58% of them feel like they're not productive with the tools that they're meant to use every day to be successful at work. And the technological turnover, and again, think about cloud services. They're updating their services 24, 48, and 72 hours, in some cases a week here and there. The half-life of the digital skills is really just only 2.5 years. So the skills that you need to do your job very quickly become obsolete. So the time wasted as a result of this inadequate digital skills training is about 20% of your workers' time. So it costs almost $10,000 per employee. And again, it's a confluence of very particular events that are happening. That's number one. Number two is that training just simply hasn't kept pace with the evolving way that people learn. And we've spoken about this with microlearning, right? But the simple fact is the way that we pay attention and we learn, both individually, at work, societally, and in general, has changed. We do not have the attention spans that we once had. They're just shorter. And that's certainly the case for millennials. Folks have an attention span today of just about 8 seconds.
Okay.
These challenges are really why we created Grovo. It offers a more affordable, faster, and a more effective way to enhance this worker productivity. And it really happens one person in one organization at a time.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, what do you see as the biggest trends this year that businesses should make sure their employees understand? What do you think it is?
So I think there are a handful. I'll start with security, just because I think that I think security's gotten a lot of attention as of late. And as we've seen time and time again, Home Depot, Apple's iCloud, security just continues to be a huge concern. So as organizations are expanding their use of cloud and mobile technologies, and this happens both personally and professionally, especially with the BYOD, the bring your own device movement into work, organizations have to continue to rigorously train their employees on best practices. And some of these are like recognizing malware, or creating a safe password even, or rotating your passwords, and proper ways to store this sensitive information to ensure their company's security. So that's really number one. I'd say security is a huge theme. And next I'd say is cloud computing and storage. We've seen that it is more affordable and easier than ever to take advantage of the cloud. And this offers us an opportunity to be really flexible. You can work anytime, anywhere, in any way, shape, and form. But now that you can take your business almost entirely in the cloud, we're seeing a very large shift in organizations relying on technology for some of their core business functions. So that's an enormous trend too.
All right.
And finally, number three is this mobile technology. Smart devices are becoming more and more integrated into our personal and professional lives. And the cloud has integrated all of this very seamlessly. So now we have the opportunity that we're working in the cloud to move very freely between work devices and personal devices.
Yeah.
So what is the best way to ensure that we are in fact using these devices very efficiently and securely and intelligently? And I think those are really the three themes that we're seeing.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, mobile devices. It's you're taking the work out of the office and making things more flexible and versatile for more and more people. We're doing things
but I guess also with that comes the whole issue with security. And when you take things out of the office, they're obviously going to be less secure, especially when you're dealing with the cloud. You turn one thing public instead of private, and all of a sudden you got a problem. So I can definitely see where privacy is definitely a must-have lesson, I guess, at this point.
That's absolutely right.
I mean, you can't.
That's absolutely right.
I mean, you can't have front without a back, right? There's always the flip side. I mean, there's always a lot of good things, but you're always going to have a lot of bad things along with the good stuff, And so people need to understand what's at risk and what they're doing. So.
What's really fascinating is there should be training for this, and that's why we started the company.
Okay.
Training needs to exist for these very tightly coupled, ever-changing technological cycles. Again, the half-life is very short, but training needs to exist for it, and that's one of the items that has just been so inspiring for me our co-founders and our team here in New York in building this business.
Right. All right. Well, let me just first of all, I understand that Grovo recently won an award for best place to work in New York Tech, so congratulations to that.
Oh, thank you so much.
Other than emphasize high quality training, what else does Grovo do internally to help employees, excel in the workplace?
So, since we started the company, Nick Sarag and I, we wanted to create a place that people wanted to come to every day. And that's not to say that you won't have good days and bad days. That's different. You will absolutely have a bad day here and there. But fundamentally, a place that you could come to where you felt like you could be your authentic self and do your very best work and be direct and authentic and honest and ambitious and both confident and humble at the same time, and feel really comfortable in your own skin. And when it was just the three of us in our apartments, we had very many deliberate conversations about what that looks like. And now that we're about 100 and so people here at the company, I just feel so fortunate that the three of us had those conversations then. And naturally it evolves as you go. But more than anything, it's about the people.
Okay.
It's about creating a place that people feel comfortable and feel inspired and feel able and empowered to do the best work.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jeff, if people want more information, they can certainly go to your website, Grovo.com, Grovo.com, to see more information about it. They can try it out and see, and if this is for them. We also, if you go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com, just click on the show notes button, you'll see today's show, which is February the 3rd, 2015, and we actually have a link to Grovo.com right there.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you.
And we even talk about Jeff, and he's there too, so you can read that if you want more information. And that's up as of tonight, so you can check it out for yourself. I think it's a very interesting format, and Jeff, I wish you best of luck with it, and thank you so much for letting our listeners know about Grovo.com here on Computer America.
I really appreciate it. Can't thank you enough for the opportunity to share more. Craig and Ben, obviously it's a pleasure. Feel free to reach out at any time. My email is just Jeff, Jeff, at Grovo.com. Should you have questions, feel free to reach out to me directly at any point.
Sure, and we can maybe get a little training video for Ben to show him how to become a co-host.
Yeah, because I have no idea what I'm doing. So.
Well, you know what? Send over what you'd like to be in there, Craig, and we'll make sure that Ben gets there.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Have a good evening.
It might take 8 or 10 one-minute videos, but
we'll get him there. Thank you, Jeff, for being on the show today. All right. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Thanks
Bye-bye.
so much, and appreciate your pinging us and having us on the show.
All right. Take care. Have a good evening. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks so much. Be well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. There you go. Again, Grovo.com. You can check it out for yourself at ComputerAmerica.com and just on our show notes page. And while you're at the Computer America website, why don't you just check out some of all the really cool things that we have. I have a few minutes here to talk about some of the really nice things on our website. It's an updated website. It's got a lot of new features on it. We have you can listen to recent shows right from the home page. We have a Blog Talk Radio widget, so you can see the different shows, like up to 5 different of the past shows you can listen to. We even have our Listen Live Now button, so you can listen to the current live show. As I mentioned, we also have our weekly newsletter that you can click on, and also we have our networks button there, so you can see all the different networks that are carrying or are about to carry the Computer America show, and we have links to them there as well. And while you're there, we also have our contest page. You can go to ComputerAmerica.com and check that out for yourself. We have many different contests. The Logitech contest is our big one. We're giving away 3 prizes. The third place prize is the Logitech HD Webcam C310. It's valued at $50. The second place prize is the Logitech G400S optical gaming mouse. It's valued at $60. That is a corded mouse. It has all the, most gamers want corded mice. They don't want the cordless. They want to get the fastest speed and the fastest reaction time. And so far, the corded mouse seems to be the ultimate mouse for playing games. That's it
Well,
took me.
it's not just response time, but it's also, hey, if you're in the middle of it, you don't want your mouse dying because of batteries. So.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. Although I have to say, battery life in today's mice, I know a set of batteries in the average Logitech wireless mouse lasts like 3 years. So
There's a difference between a gaming mouse with super low latency, high lag, high sensitivity, variable DPI, all that kind of thing, and your average Logitech mouse that has probably one of each of those settings, and you can use it for 3 years. The
Right.
two aren't
You're right.
apples and oranges. Apples and oranges.
That's right. They have an Apple version and an orange version.
Yeah, that's what
We're giving the G400S optical gaming mouse. It's got a 400 DPI sensor. Responds very accurately. Then you can shift on the fly. It's a beautiful mouse. And then of course our grand prize is the Logitech X300 mobile wireless stereo speaker. It is a Bluetooth speaker. It comes in like 4 different colors. If you win it, you get to choose the color that you want. It's about $70. All of our it's really easy now. We changed it. You used to have to send an email. You don't have to do that anymore. Right on that same page is our official Computer America contest entry form. Just fill it out, click the submit button, and you're done. It's just that fast. So head over to our Logitech contest and enter that. And of course, the other one is our show reminder contest. That basically you subscribe to our weekly email newsletter, the show reminder. And it is the only publication in the entire universe that contains the listing of scheduled guests and topics for the entire week ahead. So you put your email address in there, your first and last name, and hit the subscribe button. It'll send you a confirmation email to which you must reply, and once you do that, you're subscribed. And then every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, you'll receive the email newsletter, the show reminder. And from every Friday, from the list of subscriber names, we draw a winning name to win a really nice prize from Logitech. Currently, we're giving away the Logitech T650 rechargeable glass touchpad. That's right. It's made from glass. It's a glass touchpad, the T650, and it's wireless, and it's beautiful. It understands Windows gestures. It's a gorgeous touchpad, and we give one away every single Friday. So get over to our show reminder, the entry form, and just to enter it and get our weekly emailers show reminder. It is completely free. All of our contests are free, no obligation, and also completely private. We don't give your information out to anyone. I mean, we don't say, okay, subscribe to this, and then we sell the list. We don't do that.
We've tried it. No one wants to buy it. Your guys,
well, we sent Ben out into the parking lot a couple of times.
Yeah, it was trying to hustle people. It wasn't working. It wasn't working.
Hey, you want to buy a subscriber list? No, it didn't work. So no, we don't. We don't do it. We keep it to ourselves, and we use it, and then and that's it. At the end of the Logitech contest, we throw out all the names, and we start again from scratch. That's it. So everything is private. It's all free. It's confident. Now, unless you win, now obviously if you win something, then we'll give your contact information to Logitech, so then they can turn around and mail you your prize, because they ship it. They mail it to you. Okay, so they have to know your contact info, your shipping info. So that's what they do. Other than that, it's completely private. So head over to our contest page and enter in all of our contests. You'll have a lot of fun playing or doing that, and who knows, you might win something really, really nice. Okay. And while we're there, also check out our free software page. It's under the Interact menu. You can see all the different free software products we have. Of course, we have Slimware Utilities, because everything that Slimware Utilities has is completely free. And you just click on the little logo next to each one, and that'll take you to the website so you can check things out. What are some of the other ones we have? Of course, we have Skype up there. AdBlock Plus is really nice. This was one of the.
By the way, AdBlock Plus is in the news.
Oh, really? What's going on with them?
Bit of a scandal. Apparently, some of the bigger ad providers out there have been secretly paying AdBlock Plus to actually let their ads slip by.
No way! Really? And here we are, we're promoting them, we've had them on the show?
Now, again, if you go to certain sites that have a billion ads, and it's not through Google or anything like that, and even so, most Google ads will get blocked and things like that. It's just, I'm sure certain ads at certain times would slip by. And I thought it was just like, Google was finding workarounds and things like that. Apparently, they found the best workaround of all, which is cold hard cash. So,
Wow. We should have the company's creator. We've had him on the show a number of times. His name, Ben Williams, on the show. He's the director of PR for AdBlock Plus. We should have him on the show. Or Till Feta. Till Feta is the co-founder of AdBlock Plus. Maybe we should get him back on the show.
they might want to lay low for a second.
Huh? I'm sorry?
They might want to lay low for a second.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we'll find out. But of course, we have other things like Firefox is on there and Steam. We have Steam up there. We have 7-Zip. We have GIMP, and also on that same page at the bottom, we have our chat room IRC client plugins. We don't talk too much about that, but if you use our chat room, we have like 3 different ones depending upon the platform that you use and the browser that you use. Usually, one of them will work. I use Chatzilla. And it's an add-on for Mozilla Firefox, and basically what it does, it takes the chat room and formats it in its own window, makes it visually easy to look at. It provides its own area for the text that you type in and the text that you're reading. It gives you a little list of all the participants in another little window, all in the same window. So if you find yourself using the chat room more frequently, you might want to check out the chat room IRC client plugins. We have HexChat, we have MIRC. It's all on our free software page at computeramerica.com. And again, we have our news page, we have our Top Tech Award page. We here at Computer America award items that we think are outstanding, and we award them the Top Tech Award. We also have our archives page, where you can listen to all of the past shows or watch them. We have the links to Blog Talk Radio there. We have audio archives on Apple's iTunes. We have the link to it'll open up right in your browser, or take you over to Apple's, fire up the iTunes client if you want. Either way, you can choose either way to do it. And then we have our video archives under YouTube. We have a link there. Also, we have some photo archives coming up, and of course, our daily show notes are there as well. So all of our information, again, at everything that we're doing here at Computer America is on our website. Now, I guess it behooves me to mention that we've just recently added under the Contact and About Us a Statement of Purpose page that was just up. So if you want to look at our Statement of Purpose, our executive producer, Aaron Crossman, has kind of formalized it to our listeners, and what the manifesto, I guess.
Because, Computer America apparently has a message. I didn't know. Apparently it does. So if you want to see what exactly is Computer America all about.
Yeah, what is our statement? What is our raison d'etre? What is our reason for being?
Greg, you're slurring again.
Yeah, well, listen, it's almost 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, but we talk about it to our listeners, what our mantra is and what our objectives are, and we finally formalized it and put it into a statement of purpose page. And yes, yeah, we said we're taking over the world. That's it.
Oh yeah, no, world domination has always been a key component of what we do here.
Yeah, world domination is certainly it. But anyway, it's all at our website at computeramerica.com. It's there for your viewing and listening. Everything we do, the show, about the show, everything about it, it's all at computeramerica.com. We certainly invite you to check it all out. There's lots of content in there. We never promote it enough, and so I thought there's even a demo. If you wanna see what we're all about, we actually have a video demo that was compiled by Carissa Green, our booking goddess. And she put together a really nice demo, so you can actually watch the Computer America show and see what we're all about. Or if you want to tell others about us, and they say, "Well, what's it all about?" Tell them to go click the demo button. They can they'll get a really interesting compilation of what it is that we're doing here on the program. All right. Well, that wraps up. Now, coming up in the second hour, we're going to have it's February, as I said. So February is our DIY month, and we're picking different topics and subjects to talk about. Now, last night we talked about, what did we talk about last night, Ben? We talked about
Last night, Craig, what'd you have for breakfast? Last night we talked about how to use a browser.
That's right.
Maybe you've used one and you continue to use one to this day, but maybe you weren't the most proficient at it or didn't know how that young whippersnapper was able to buzz around the internet 2 or 3 times faster than you could. So there were some great hints and tips, including hotkeys and such like that, to use a browser more efficiently.
Okay. So in that spirit, we're going to come out and answer the question. It's just 3 words. Why be private? As opposed to a corporal or a sergeant. No, why be private? Yes, exactly. What is this issue about privacy when you're online? And what's that all about? I mean, you hear all these things about VPNs and Tor blockers and DuckDuckGo and mega cookies and all these different things. Well, we're going to talk about some of that in the second hour, and we'll see where that takes us. And that's going to be brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. We're going to take a quick momentary break and back again for hour 2 of the Computer America Show.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we just had our first hour guest on the show, and I want to thank him for being here on the program. Grovo was here. Yeah, Mr. Jeff Fernandez. He was the co-founder and CEO of the show. Was on with us for the first hour. And again, thanks him for being here with us. And if you missed any portion of that, of course, you can listen to it again. We archive all of our shows, both the audio and the video, so you can for your downloading pleasure and listen to it again. It's all at our website at ComputerAmerica.com. So, anything else you want to mention before we begin our second hour of the show, Ben?
Anything else to mention? Not really. While yes, it is DIY month, we will be going over the topic of how to browse securely, safely, and anonymously. We will also be doing probably tech news, depending on how long that topic takes. And there are some good news stories that I would really like to squeeze in, because the more we do DIY, the less news we cover, but yet the news keeps happening.
Yes.
So,
and by the way, let me also take the opportunity to point out that if you have a question about anything we're talking about in this hour, we'd certainly like to talk to you. Give us a call at 347-884-8881. 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. So if you're confused about something we're talking about, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you here on the show. All right. Well, then let's get started and get this show on the road for hour 2. Tonight's DIY segment is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. See, I did it that time, man. Everything at slimwareutilities.com is completely free. We highly recommend that you download all of them. Why not? They're free. And when you need them, you're going to be happy that you did that. You have them right at your fingertips. I mean, your internet connection might go down for some reason. You need some help with it. You already have downloaded. They're on your drive. You're set and ready to use them. So download them all. You'll be happy that you did, and you'll thank us for it. SlimwareUtilities.com. And in this DIY segment, do-it-yourself segment, we're going to ask the question, why be private? What's so important about privacy? Other than the obvious things. I mean, when you go online and you're using your browser and you're going to a website where you may use all the time, or one that you might be going to for the first time, do you want to keep your front doors, your so-called virtual front door, wide open, letting anybody in and to look around, while you're at their place, I mean, I guess maybe it's only fair if you're going to somebody's home, you would say, well, I don't want to put a mask on. I want people to know who I am if I'm going into their home. That would be the first thing. But then the flip side is, well, maybe I don't want them to know that I'm going there. I don't want people to know I'm visiting this particular website, and I want to keep myself private. I want to be anonymous. These are all.
Just it's one of those things where people will use the term, well, if you don't have anything to hide, why are you so concerned with privacy? Or if you're not doing anything wrong, then don't worry about it. Let people see what you're doing. But it's not just that. The internet was kind of always meant to be or not that it was always meant, because again it was made by the government, but it branched off into its own kind of entity. But the internet has thrived under the guise of, hey, be anonymous, submit any kind of information you want, and people will digest it, catalog it, and redistribute information of their own, all of this anonymously. And that's just the internet would not be where it is today if everyone had to log in a social security number and first name, last name. The internet would be probably a much worse place. So there's a lot of people out there who, even though they have nothing to hide, they're not doing anything wrong, they still like the idea of, hey, I want to go where I want to go without being subjected to questioning, hey, why are you going there? Huh? What are you doing there? What are you doing there? And that's why a lot of people have worked on solutions to how to surf anonymously.
And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight here, because there are several different mechanisms to speak on, and we're going to be exploring some of those options, if you will, that allow you to surf the net privately. Because let's face it, most of us, I guess, enjoy the anonymity that comes of the internet. Ben mentioned, it started off as the government. It was started off as the ARPANET, and then, of course, it changed as time progressed. It is interesting to see the different reactions. But I think, bottom line, most people, they say, well, you got nothing to hide, don't worry about it. But I think still people like to remain private until you don't want to be private. If you're going to a place and you're making a purchase, then of course you have to identify who you are. You're going to give a credit card number. That's one of the many perks of the internet. You can go online and shop and buy things that without ever leaving your home. It's a wonderful experience. Now, one of the first things that that you can do if you want to remain private is use something called a VPN. A VPN, a virtual private network, and there are a number of them out there. One that I like to use is something called ProXPN, and ProXPN basically is a free, easy-to-use service that it secures your internet connection against eavesdropping. It masks your location and allows you to access your favorite sites no matter where you live or travel. I mean, and it's just that simple. Basically, it's a global VPN or virtual private network that creates a secure encrypted tunnel through which all of your online data passes back and forth. And any application that requires internet connection works with things like ProXPN. Now, ProXPN is just one brand, but there are many other ones. I'm just talking about ProXPN because I happen to like how it works. But whoops. Okay, so
no, we're good. No, actually, we just had a caller who actually apparently is very much into keeping yourself secure and private, and he actually recommended one of another piece of software is actually freeware. You can download it for free and use it, and we're probably going to cover it a little bit later. I'm just going to read up on it real quick. But yeah, it's just a lot of people are into security, even though there's nothing wrong and it's perfectly fine. And there are lots and lots of tools, especially free tools, because the same group of people that like to be anonymous are also the same group of people that like free stuff.
Yeah, well, and it goes beyond that too. I mean, for example, I don't know if you know this, but there's there are some countries that you can't go to if you're using your browser. They're blocked out.
One of the most common things you hear about is, especially for Canadians and Europeans, YouTube is very, very common for whatever country you're trying to log in from. And because the internet, let's face it, the internet is a global thing. If you go to certain websites, you may be talking to someone from Australia, or you may be talking to someone from China, or you may be talking to someone from Germany, or you may be talking to someone from Wisconsin. The internet is such a global place, but then companies, especially YouTube is where people really run into it, is, oh, we're sorry, this video is blocked in your country. Oh, sorry, this video is only available to people in the U.S.
It's worse than football games and sporting events. I mean, it's like sporting events. You watch sporting events, they get blacked out in certain areas of the country. Well, the internet is that even far more. I mean, you see that far more. So if you're using something like a virtual VPN network, what will happen is that you can literally make it look like you're calling from a different location. You can look like you're calling from Miami. You can look like you're calling from Denmark. You literally can pick, because VPN networks have a whole host of servers based in other locations and countries, different cities and states in the United States, that you can literally pick from those, and then log in, and when you access that Canadian website or wherever it is, it's going to think you're calling from wherever it is that you want it to think, and guess what? Those aren't blocked out.
Yep, it's a great little workaround, and it's mainly it's other people trying to access U.S. content, but sometimes it happens for other countries, and just the general idea behind it is so simple, but sometimes the software of it is a little bit complicated.
Yeah.
That's why if you get some of the paid-for services, ProXPN, as Craig mentioned, but many of the VPNs that you actually pay for are very user-friendly and easy to set up, where you can actually choose from. Now, again, just because a service says that you can go make yourself appear from a different place, you have to actually dig into each service. I know ProXPN, the one that we keep talking about, had servers available in, I think it was like many of the European countries, a couple in China and a few in Australia, and a couple all over the and pretty much everything all over the U.S. But if you wanted to access something from inside of Egypt, they didn't have one there, so you could not make yourself look like you were coming from Egypt.
Right, and might be something like
wherever you want to log into, you get the proper piece of software.
However, one of the things that I do like about ProXPN is because it works seamlessly with the operating system. I use a Mac, for example, and I was able to install ProXPN, and literally in moments. And then what I would have in the upper right corner of my screen, I'd have a little icon appear, and it would be red, and then I could say connect, and it would give you all the different places I connect to, like Dallas, Texas, or Denmark, wherever, and connect. And then also you would see go from yellow to green, and then once it was green, you were logged into that country. And another way that I knew that I was connected, it was working, I would go to Google, and when I go to Google, instead of seeing the normal Google screen, I would see Google in Sanskrit, because it thought that I was calling. I was making the call from an Arabic country, and so all the Google was in Sanskrit, and I said, "Oh, this is cool. All right." So that's where I thought I was coming from. So but again, it did it extremely seamlessly. It was and then I could disconnect. I could leave it active if I wanted to, but I could connect, disconnect, and it was totally transparent to the Mac operating system, OS 10, and it was one of the things that I really, really liked about it. You can use it for free, and they give you, but you only get, I think Dallas, I think is the only place that you can get when you use it for free, but it's just to try it out, and then it's like $5 a month or something like that.
Yeah, you won't get Dallas, and but one thing that we definitely should mention because it's something that's glossed over a lot. But everyone who uses a VPN for the first time, they're like, "Why is my connection so slow?"
Mhm.
When you go through a VPN, no matter what the service, they have a certain amount of bandwidth that they can actually handle, a certain amount of traffic. And depending on how many users they have or just how much bandwidth that they have allocated to it, you may be getting 1 megabit per second. Now, it doesn't matter that you have 100 megabits or you have a gig a second or what have you. It's just whatever the VPN is allowing you to take is as much as you get. And sometimes that's as low as 512, 1 megabit per second, 3 megabits per second. It's not very fast. So if you wanted to use a VPN and then do something like stream Netflix, you're going to see some network troubles.
Right, exactly. So,
But that's with VPNs in general, though. That's not any particular service, but VPNs in general will lag.
there is a little bit of an overhead. Yeah, you'll get a little bit of overhead cost with it, but that's the nature of the beast. It's sort of like running Windows on a Mac. Although they've increased the speed of how that works. And by the way, we're going to have parallels on the show again coming up in a little while. But you're running a different operating system within an operating system. That's sort of what you're doing, and it's the same thing with VPNs. Now, let me tell you my experience with VPN. Yes, I'm going to share this with you, and I had mixed emotions. I thought about it, but what I did initially when I got the Pro Expedient service, I had to try it out and see what would happen with before and after. So I went to one of the websites where you could watch videos, and I went ahead and did it a couple of times, and wouldn't you know, like about a week later, I got an email from my ISP saying, you're looking at videos that you're not supposed to be watching, and we're informing you that you need to stop doing that right away. And of course I did. So the point is, with your ISPs are monitoring you, and that was a case in point. Your ISPs actually are watching where you're going, and if you go somewhere where you're not supposed to go, they're going to report it, and so they're going to report it.
One of the perks of actually, and there are steps that you can actually keep your ISP from seeing where you're going. And really, at the end of the day, your ISP should only be able to tell how much you're downloading and how much you're uploading, not what you're downloading, not where you're visiting, or anything like that. It's none of their business where or what you're doing. It's just they just need to know how much data you're consuming, so at the end of the day they can bill you properly. But they do monitor a lot of things they don't have to, which is given credence to a lot of people who like to browse without being tracked, and hence everything that we're going to be talking about tonight kind of helps with that too. So if you don't want your even your ISP to be tracking you, you use some of the tips that we're talking about tonight.
Right. And my point of this is that to show that it's valid. I mean, this actually happens, and you say, "Oh, well, they're not watching me. I'm I'm a little tiny drop in a huge bucket of millions and millions of people." No, they do. They can watch, they can monitor you, and they can see where you're going. And Ben is right. They should only know about how much data you're using. That's all the things they should know, but they don't. They can track you, and everything we're talking about tonight will help you maintain your anonymity.
Yep. Although the ISPs, they're very automated, so if you know you're not doing anything wrong and they're just tracking you and they're keeping an eye on you for no reason, it's better to call them up and explain them what's going on, because it's very automated and very aggressive, and they'll just say, "Oh, this person's spoofing this, going about that." They don't need to know that kind of stuff. They just put you on a list, and then you start getting watched. But kind of moving on to the next topic, what our caller was actually talking about was, and I had a chance to look it over. It's a piece of freeware I'm going to send it to Craig right now. It's called TMAC.
TMAC.
TMAC. It's a piece of freeware available for Windows only.
Okay.
So and it works for Windows, everything from 2000 XP to Windows 8, 8 and 8.1. And what it does is it actually lets you spoof your MAC address.
Now let's explain what a MAC address is. We're not talking about a Macintosh computer when we say MAC address.
No, your MAC address is it's the actual physical address that is hard-coded into your network card on your computer. Every network card has a hard set MAC address that can be traced back to it. It comes from your whoever the manufacturer is. It comes from them with a unique MAC address, and it lets you go onto the internet, and so you don't have numbers crossing anywhere. Your MAC address is your MAC address. So it's very much your computer's fingerprint on the internet.
MAC basically stands for Media Access Control, and it's a unique numeric code that is permanently assigned to each unit of most types of networking hardware, such as network interface cards, by the manufacturer at the factory. Okay, so it's a series of two-digit numbers, and basically every piece of hardware has its own unique MAC address, and it can be used by other people out on the internet to track your computer because it's unique. No one else has it, you know, and it uses hexadecimal numbers, by the way. Hexadecimal numbers is, we usually normally use the decimal-based system, but hexadecimal is 16, base 16. So that's 0 through 9, and then the letters A, B, C, D, E, and F. That's a total of 16 digits, and then you can combine the letters and numbers to form hexadecimal numbers. And the MAC address actually consists of 6 of these numeric hexadecimal digits separated by a colon.
Yep.
And that's enough. That's for every single flipping piece of networking hardware. Everybody's got their own address, and it makes it unique. And so they can track you using this MAC address right down to where you are.
If you ever wondered how police are able to say, we know that this came, or you access this website from this computer, yada yada, it's because they can compare the MAC address that was recorded on the website, and if you made a change, or if you made a comment, or you left, or you even just visited the site, your MAC address is logged, kept, saved, and then they can compare the MAC address to your computer, which has a static 1 MAC address all the time.
Exactly.
So it's obviously it's your fingerprint. It's more stable than even your IP address.
Right.
So it becomes very obvious why changing your MAC address would be beneficial if you try to keep yourself anonymous, secure, or you just don't want to be tracked. So again, this is using a piece of software called TMAC, or Technidium MAC address changer. You can just Google TMAC version 6. Works with IPv6 and IPv4. And again, this was from one of our callers. We actually just found out about this tonight as well. But it's very useful if you don't want. I mean, obviously your IP address, you can have it changed, but that you can't really. The only way you can spoof that is with another piece of software. Your MAC address is a bit more stable, so if you can spoof that, you're even more secure.
And Ben is using a word spoof, and I want to make a spoof basically is the catchword when you want to change something. Okay, so I mean you can spoof anything. I mean you can spoof your phone number. Okay, if you want, there's a way of making your phone number look like a different phone number. That's called spoofing. When you take something and you change it to something that it is not, that the term that's used in the technology industry is called spoofing. And what this piece of software does, it basically allows you to spoof your MAC address to something that it is not. You can either randomly generate a MAC address to spoof, or you can actually put one in there if you, for some specific reason, want to look like something else, and you know what their MAC address is. If I know what Ben's MAC address is, and I want to go in there and make it look like Ben's doing it, I could put his MAC address in there, and I would basically be spoofing his address. So that's what this piece of software does. And again, thanks to the caller for phone.
For turning us on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so just continuing on with the topic of how to browse anonymously.
Mhm.
One thing that you might want to be careful of, and we explained a little bit about it last night, but cookies actually play a pretty big role in being anonymous on the web.
Yes. Cookies are those little snippets of code that your browser maintains, and that can be very, very useful when you go to a website, because, for example, cookies will keep track of a website and what you saw, what you clicked on that website. So the hyperlinks will change from let's say blue to purple. That means you've clicked on it, you've seen it before, so you don't have to click on the same thing again unless you want to. Information about you is given to a website through these cookies. Now, most browsers will allow you to block those cookies to a certain extent. They could allow you to turn them all off or select specific ones and delete them. Okay, but as soon as you do that and you go back to that website, it's going to load another cookie on you on your browser unless you have it. So these are some of the problems that you have. Now there are some browsers out there that are specifically designed to maintain your anonymity completely. And I think that you're leading up to the Tor browser is going to be the next thing you're going to be talking about, Ben?
Yeah, no, one of the most popular ones out there is the Tor browser, and or the Onion router. The Onion router, Tor, Tor. Tor is a free software for enabling online anonymity and resisting censorship. It's designed to make it possible for users to surf the internet anonymously, so their activities and location cannot be discovered by the government, tinfoil hat, corporations, or anyone else. But of course, you know, and I kind of put a joke there saying that the government can track you, therefore you need a tinfoil hat. But let's face it, with everything that's come out about the NSA, it's very true that even governments are tracking just average everyday people, checking for just maybe little blips on a radar that maybe you went to the wrong website, did this. Just if you did anything suspicious, you are then automatically on the list, just like Craig and his ISP. So using something like Tor is very beneficial if you just want to stay off the radar altogether. And by the way, how secure is Tor? Tor was actually invented by the Navy in the mid-90s.
Really?
Yep, it was invented in the mid-90s, and it was further developed by DARPA in 1997, and it was used to protect U.S. spies, so that they wouldn't be online and they couldn't be tracked down. It was used to protect spies, and the infrastructure for that actually was kind of put out there, and people have been using it ever since to remain anonymous. Because let's face it, if it's built from the ground up to protect spies so that they're anonymous and can't be tracked, it's obviously going to be very efficient at protecting the average person.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is why the Tor software project that allows it now. And there is a version of Tor browser for Microsoft Windows, one for Mac OS 10, and there's even one for Linux too. Okay, so
it's very popular for Linux as well. By the way, there's actually a quote here that kind of goes along with this whole thing, and the quote, this is from the EFF's actual endorsement of the Tor project. So they say that criminals can already do bad things. Since they're willing to break laws, they already have lots of options available to provide better privacy than Tor provides. Tor aims to provide protection for ordinary people who want to follow the law. Only criminals have privacy right now, and we need to fix that. So yes, criminals could in theory use Tor, but they already have better options, and it seems unlikely that taking Tor away from the world will stop them from doing their bad things. At the same time, Tor and other privacy measures can fight identity theft, physical crimes like stalking, and so on.
Okay. So again, it's a stable Tor browsers. There are a number of them out there, and on different languages. Again, it's free to download, and
One of the best ways to keep yourself anonymous is definitely downloading Tor, using Tor. If you don't want anyone knowing what you're doing, definitely give it a look. I've heard so many people just recommend it handily, and it's one of your biggest tools in your kit to not be tracked.
There you go. All right. Now, do you want to finish up with this, or did you want to continue on and do some news stories, or what do you want to do, Ben?
We're gonna just kind of breeze right through this. Of course, we have a break coming up in like a minute, and then we're gonna hit on peer blocking, what that is, and why you should have it. DuckDuckGo, what that is, and that's about it.
Okay, good. All right. Well, you listen to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, and the Boost Radio Network. Ben and I are doing the Do-It-Yourself segment, and brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. When we come back, we're going to have yet another News Tips Bulletin review by Marty Winston. Oh, by the way, that's what else that I forgot to mention at the Computer America website. If you go under the correspondence now, you see all of our correspondence. We've added Marty Winston at the bottom of that. You can read about him there.
He wasn't on there?
Yeah, he wasn't on there. He's down there.
Whoops.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, we're going to have a News Tips Bulletin review by him, and then we'll continue on with more of Computer America. Stay with us. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
1-866-663-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Right now, to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound.
Call 1-866-663-MY-TV.
So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more.
Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Aw, were you waiting for me? Hi, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Porta-Pow USB Power Monitor version 2. Now, you may have had an inkling that those woe-warts and power pucks feeding your USB gear may have fudged their specs a bit. But how can you be sure? Underpowering or power-starving some kinds of gear, like USB drives, can have some bad consequences, like head crashes. So we got in the Porta-Pow USB Power Monitor version 2, about the size of a chunky chocolate. It has a short attached USB-A male for plugging into the power source and a USB-A female for the power consumer, which can be either gear or a resistive dummy load. A front button backlights the 3-line LCD that tells you the source voltage between 3 and 7 volts DC. USB spec is 5 volts. The amount of current being delivered between 0 and 2.5 amps. The amount of power at DC, that's voltage in volts times current in amps to yield power in watts, being drawn. Bottom line, anytime the performance versus specs of USB products gets suspicious, a PortaPow version 2 USB power monitor is auspicious. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
I like that one. Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour. We are doing our DIY month, and that's about to butt into our computer and technology news, both brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America.
Yes, they are.
So, we are doing how to surf anonymously and how to be anonymous on the internet. Even if you aren't doing anything wrong, it's not about doing something bad. It's about saying, hey, I'm allowed on the internet, and no one needs to know what I'm doing. It doesn't matter if you're not doing anything with it, or if you're just tracking me for ads, or if you're a hacker in China. None of you need to know what I'm doing. And a very useful tool is we're going to talk about this particular one. This is one that we've actually used before. It's called PeerBlock.
Yes.
PeerBlock. PeerBlock is a type of program known as an IP blocker. IP addresses are used to identify a computer whenever it connects to the internet, and PeerBlock monitors each connection your computer tries to make with another one, and each connection other computers try to make with you, and then compares the other computer's IP address against a list of known IP addresses to see whether it should let the connection go through.
Mm-hmm.
And that obviously will keep anyone who is not on the think of a club, anyone who's not on the list, you're not allowed through. And obviously, I would not be allowed on the list, but many people would not be on the list. No hackers, no people who want to put spyware on your computer, no ad companies that want to put to track you. No one can get through. So.
But my understanding is that this PeerBlock is only available for the Windows platform and not for Mac. Is that correct? Or Linux?
Only available for the Windows. Most of the again, unfortunately, it's that whole, well, Macintosh exists. It's out there. No one questions the validity of the platform. It's just, let's face it, Windows is the biggest target out there. So when you're talking about browsing anonymously, 9 times out of 10, you're talking about how to protect yourself on a Windows platform. And therefore, people develop for what is most needed, and most if not all of these, will work on Windows, but not necessarily on Macintosh. If anything, Linux in general is a better platform for keeping yourself anonymous. Because Linux is so open source and ready to tinker with, it's actually easier to get into the guts of it and keep and change these settings that need to be changed. So Macintosh is actually last when it comes to keeping yourself anonymous.
Okay. All right. So that's PeerBlock, and then also we have DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo. This is the one that Aaron uses religiously.
Mm-hmm.
And it's simple. It's DuckDuckGo, just like it's spelled, duckduckgo.com, and it's an internet search engine, much like Google. The only thing is, unlike Google, it doesn't track anything.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah, I mean, so no ads appear, none of the Google ads that you see on the right side. It's basically you put it in. And here, let me see how accurate it is. I'm going to put Computer America show in here, and there we are.
One thing that Google does is, using analytics over time, it will create a profile for you. Especially if you have a Google account, it'll create a profile for you. So if you put in tiles, and you were a quilter and you've searched for quilting supplies in the past, it'll give you probably quilting tiles and quilting tile designs. If you were a handyman and you had used Google in the past, it would obviously give you something like ceramic tiles first, and it would move everything else to the bottom. And then if you were a graphics person, you would get like video graphics and stuff like that for tiles. everyone has their own little personalized bubble that Google is kind of shoehorning them into, and it works great for most people out there because they're obviously the handyman doesn't care about quilting. Therefore, why would he care about quilting tiles? He wants those tiles. So it works well for a lot of people, and people think, oh, Google really knows, or Google is really good. It always comes up first with what I want. But some people, they don't like having profiles built up around them. They don't like that they only see what Google thinks that they're interested in. So DuckDuckGo, they won't track you, they won't build up a profile around you, and it just gives you a search engine, and it gives you all the results, not just the ones that they think are relevant to you.
Now, it looks like it's a little stale here. For example, right now, one of the things right on the DuckDuckGo website, it says, use this in Firefox. And when you click on it, there's a little button there, and it says use DuckDuckGo for Firefox search. It says, click the drop-down arrow in the search box at the top of the browser. Guess what? There is no down arrow in the search box.
If you go, and yes, that might be kind of, well, actually, no, I take that back. We talked about this yesterday. In the settings, you can actually create a separate search bar, or a separate search box for browsers.
Well, right now in Firefox, it defaults to a separate search area right to the right of the URL. Okay, it's right there. It says search, and there used to be a little down arrow, which would actually now it's there. Change search settings. You can do that. That's what you have to do it. But it's not apparent. The way that they have it on DuckDuckGo is an older version, but I'm sure that they can update it. But anyhow, still, bottom line.
But the point of DuckDuckGo is to be anonymous. The engine does not track you, your results, doesn't do anything like that. So if you're tired of Google, if you're tired of Yahoo, Bing, because yes, they're very easy to use. Yes, Google is synonymous with searching at this point. They do track you, and they track every little thing. They track how long you stay on the page, what you click, which one you click, how many you click, what you search for, how long did it take you to search, that kind of thing. They track every little thing, and if you don't like that, then you are going to have to go somewhere else, like DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo, there it is. Okay, and they say our vision is simple: to give you great search engine results without tracking you, and that's what it's all about. Okay.
Yep. So I think with DuckDuckGo, that pretty much caps off how you can keep yourself anonymous. There are lots and lots of software out there that you can download. Most of it free, some of it paid for. Your VPNs, I think you're better off paying for some of them out there to get a quality product. But much of the software is free, and it is possible. It is completely possible to be anonymous on the internet, even though companies are trying desperately to track you, put cookies all over you, and it sounds weird. I know, just stick cookies all over you, and they're trying to figure out who you are, what you like, and every little detail about you, so that they can serve you ads and give you and put products in front of you that you'll buy, and there are ways around that. So
there it is. Okay. All right, well, that's it for our little do-it-yourself section. Again, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And we're going to move right into our news segment here. And we kind of teased this, and I was shocked to hear it. Maximum PC's Paul Lilly says Microsoft, Google, and Amazon reportedly pay AdBlock Plus to ignore ads. A secret deal comes to light. He says, you're not supposed to know it, but Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and Taboola have been paying the developers of AdBlock Plus to stop blocking ads on their respective websites, according to a paywalled article in the Financial Times. The deals are confidential in nature, though the Financial Times says it was able to confirm that they do, in fact, exist. If true, it raises some questions about the transparency of one of the most popular browser extensions ever made, AdBlock Plus. IO, the German outfit that owns AdBlock Plus, says its software has been downloaded over 300 million times around the globe and has more than 50 million monthly active users, including myself and Ben. Each one of them is welcome to read the software's FAQ, which says it has strict criteria about what it defines as acceptable ads, unquote unquote. Ads that are deemed acceptable must be static, that's no animation, sound, etc., and clearly marked as being ads. They also have to follow a set of placement guidelines and follow a few other rules. Users of the extension don't always agree with IO about which ads should pass muster, and many were angry when the company proposed whitelisting Taboola, an advertising network that's known to serve up racy content on occasion. But you can't, what I don't understand about I'm going to finish this article, but what I don't quite understand is that you can configure AdBlock Plus. You can block different ads, you can block, different pages, you can say don't work on, let this through on just on this one page or on the entire, domain for this page. I mean, you can really configure it pretty well. But evidently, well, let's finish this. Despite the protests, IO whitelisted Taboola, and like Google and Amazon, the company refused to comment. Microsoft, however, did issue a statement. And this statement says, Microsoft will always give consumers choice when it comes to advertisements. We are committed to working with partners who share our vision for relevant, impactful brand interaction and respect the integrity of consumer choice, Microsoft said. Boy, they learned their lesson, didn't they? Now, the Financial Times says IO doesn't charge a small websites and blogs for its whitelisting process, but that large companies must pony up. How much? Well, IO wasn't willing to say. IO has to be careful with these deals, as users have the option of blocking all ads, which lessens the value of its whitelisting service to clients, or ditching the extension altogether. See, I was right. So in other words, so you can get around this. Supposedly, you can say, okay, just block everything on this domain. If I'm on xyz.com, I can block xyz.com/ this one page, or I can block the whole domain.
Another thing that AdBlock does, they also let you block elements. So even if an ad slips through, or there's an element on a website that you don't like or you think is an ad that someone made it through, if you have AdBlock Plus installed, you can just right-click, and then you can actually, and it gives you an option in the drop-down menu for your right-click to block this element.
Yeah.
So even if an ad does slip through by maybe on purpose or maybe by accident, you can actually teach AdBlock to start blocking this element.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the AdBlock Plus now, I'm on the story from Maximum PC, and there's a little number 8 in along with it, and it says 8. There are 8 ads on this page, 10,180 in total that got blocked. So it'll tell you how many ads it's blocking on the page. You can actually see it.
Wait, how many ads have you blocked?
Well, on this particular story, Maximum PC, there are 8 ads that it's blocking.
Okay, and this is the add-on to your browser, right?
Yeah, this is the AdBlock Plus.
If you click on the AdBlock Plus logo, it actually tells you how many ads it's blocked in total.
Yep, yeah, but it also tells how many
the page. How many have you blocked in total?
Yeah, 10,180 in total.
I'm so far ahead of you. I have blocked 364,245 ads.
Wow. Well, you're probably going to places that I wouldn't probably normally go.
I go to places with a lot of ads, but just the fact that AdBlock Plus has blocked over 360,000 ads since I've been using it for about 2 years.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it is. I've only blocked I've only blocked a little over 10,000, but still.
Yep. So even if they do pay to get through, you can still right-click it, block it, and you can block the element, and it should remember that for any future time. So.
Oh, now wait a minute. I see the conflict here. I'm looking at this in Chrome, but I also have AdBlock Plug in Firefox. That's a different count.
Yeah, what does that count?
Yeah, that count. And I'm on ComputerAmerica.com now, and it doesn't give me any number right now. I don't know why. Nope.
Well, as you may know, if you go to ComputerAmerica.com, you will never block an ad because we don't have ads on our site. So
Sure. Could be.
that's something else there.
Maybe.
But yeah, no, that was an interesting story because we do talk about AdBlock Plus all the time. We use it ourselves.
Yeah, and we have it on our free software.
We have it on our software, and it's kind of stinks when you hear about. I wouldn't even say might as well count as corruption, but it's easy enough to work around.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you do have that option. So.
Yep.
Anyway, we still recommend it. I think it's.
Oh
really...
yeah, no, even if one or two Google or Amazon ads pop up, it still blocks tons of unnecessary ads out there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yep. And by the way, this next story, I really want to cover. This particular story I covered from Maxim PC, but it's been all over the net. This thing is taking over by storm, so we should really talk about it. Okay. And it's startup Eero. Yes, Eero, E-E-R-O, aims to eliminate all Wi-Fi issues, including dead spots. So, they call it reinventing Wi-Fi. If nobody ever bothered to reinvent the wheel, we'd all be riding around on 4 semicircular stones with uneven surfaces and poor braking performance, i.e. Flintstones. Keep that in mind. We won't necessarily dismiss a startup's attempt to reinvent Wi-Fi as we know it. In short, Startup Eero wants to blanket your home in fast, reliable Wi-Fi that doesn't suffer from annoying issues like dead spots.
Or buffering.
Who would have thought that would be a controversial thing? Yeah. So buffering and complicated passwords. The startup is pitching itself, titled Eero Box, as the world's first home Wi-Fi system. This is to differentiate it from a router and/or network extender. Instead, it's a single piece of hardware, a little white box, that's designed to be placed in multiple locations in your home. According to Eero, 3 of them will cover a typical home. Despite the attempt to bill it as something different, it's really a router and network extender in one, with smart capabilities. The way it works is to plug the first one into your cable or DSL modem, then take the remaining boxes, 2 if you own a quote-unquote typical house, and plug them into power outlets around your home. That's it. So each Eero configures itself and automatically connects with one another to form a mesh network covering your entire residence. As you move about your wireless devices, you'll always stay connected to a strong signal. In theory, anyway, as the author had not tested. And by the way, this would be a really cool product to have on the show, so we're definitely going to try to get them.
Yeah.
Other than widespread coverage, the main selling point is Eero's simplicity. It takes care of security, auto-updates itself, and even reboots itself if there's a problem. Although the price seems to be a little steep. It's available for pre-order today, and a single unit goes for $125, currently discounted from its regular $200, while a 3-pack goes for $300, discounted from $500.
Wow, it is pricey.
It's surprisingly pricey, but I guess what you're paying for, because again, this just sounds like a typical router with a Wi-Fi range extender built in. And range extenders, we've had Netgear on talking about their range extenders. They work pretty foolproof. It's just Eero takes it a step further and makes it a little bit more simple. So I guess you're paying for extreme simplicity, and it may be a little costly, but if it works and you don't mind shelling out the cash, it could be the answer to your dead spot woes.
Your Wi-Fi prayers is exactly. All right, the Eero. We'll keep it. We'll see if we can get him on the show. Again, this one from Maximum PC. Paul Lilly wrote it again. I really like his work.
He used to come on the show all the time.
Yeah. Selling out the Sprint would be a fitting end to Radio Shack. He says Shakespeare couldn't have written it better. Evidently, Radio Shack is reportedly in talks with Sprint to sell half its stores and shutter the rest. Should the deal go through, as currently being discussed, the locations acquired by Sprint would operate under the wireless carrier's name, and with the other half going out of business, a recognizable brand that's been around for almost a century would suddenly cease to exist. It would be a tragic ending, and entirely appropriate, too, according to Paul. He says, as pointed out last month, when talks of bankruptcy emerged, it was a series of missteps that brought Radio Shack to this point. The company thrived for many years, but more recently was reduced to surviving the internet era, and perhaps its biggest mistake was missing out on the maker movement in favor of mobile. Instead of shelves filled with 3D printing parts and hard-to-find electronic components, a typical Radio Shack is now headlined by smartphones and tablets. It's a glorified kiosk with a spattering of interesting gear in back behind the phones and batteries. Granted, mobile devices are what's propping up Radio Shack, but it's fool's gold. And so here we are talking about a 94-year-old chain that is on the verge of extinction. To be clear, this isn't a foregone conclusion. Bloomberg says the negotiations could still break down without a deal in place, or the terms of the deal could still change. Or another bidder could jump into the mix, buy the chain, and continue its operations. And yes, as Kevin Garrett famously screamed after winning one and only NBA championships, anything is possible. But what's likely is that Radio Shack is nearing its end, and if Shakespeare could be given an opportunity to pen its ending, that chain's final act would be death by mobile, selling out to the very industry that took its soul.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is.
Also, there's another story that we're not going to get into, but apparently Amazon is also interested in purchasing some of the brick-and-mortar Radio Shack stores.
Really?
Yep.
I have some fond memories of Radio Shack. But see, I never had fond memories of Blockbusters.
See, I didn't have fond memory of Blockbusters or any kind of movie rental place. Although there's a movie rental place not 4 minutes down the road that is still in business.
Yeah.
VHS and DVD rentals. I don't know how they do it. They're working. They have to be making food out the back or something. They're propping their business up on something else. But these companies go out of business all the time. I guess what Radio Shack kind of shocks all of the tech writers that we kind of get our information from is that, hey, it's 94 years old. It kind of capitalized on technology, and here it is, kind of starting to fade away. Mm-hmm. So I think one of the coolest things that might happen is that Radio Shack kind of goes away, the name, the company, everything, but the brick-and-mortar stores, instead of going the way of Blockbuster, which have turned into, I believe, primarily dojos and restaurants, Radio Shack brick-and-mortar stores should probably become Sprint stores and Amazon actual kind of like mini distribution centers, where these bigger companies, because let's face it, Radio Shack, they have a store like every 2 miles. They're everywhere. Yeah, so maybe some of these bigger stores who really want to actually get into brick and mortar instead of actually moving away from brick and mortar, they want to absorb some of these stores and have a pre-built building, because I believe it's Radio Shack. They have to have internet access in there.
Yeah, they do.
They could be everywhere. It seems like a great place to jump in and capitalize on something that is, like, the infrastructure is already in place.
Well, as you said, the deal may or may not go through, and so, but
did you see their Super Bowl ad?
Radio Shack?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, they had a Super Bowl ad, and there's 2 guys manning the counter there in a Radio Shack, and he picks up the phone. He's like, "Yeah, oh, really? Okay," and he hangs up. He's like, "What was that?" It's like, the 80s called. They want their stores back. And then, like, all the pop culture from the 80s, the DeLorean, Qubit, Jason, just every the big hair bands. Yeah. Everyone comes in, starts stealing everything off the shelf, and then they say, "Come check out the brand new Radio Shack." So apparently they're trying to revamp some of their stores to make it look a little bit more modern.
Well, good. I hope they're successful with it. Well, you know, we're pretty much out of time. Again, I want to thank Grovo, the CEO of Grovo, for being on the show with us, and you'll check them out at grovo.com. Coming up tomorrow night, it's the first Wednesday of the month. That means it's our open mic night. Mike Cermak is going to be here. He is the owner-operator of TechGuy.org, and he comes on the show to talk
90 seconds.
Anything having to be about computers and technologies. Any questions you have about computers, Mike, that's what TechGuy.org is all about. It's a place that you go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you have a question about computers, you can go there. It's completely sponsored by charitable donations, and but it's a very good site. It's been around since the 90s, and Mike is the owner-operator of it, and he comes on the show
60 seconds.
Tomorrow night, the first Wednesday of every month. And also he has a little quiz for us that he does too, which always proves to be a little fun. And then, of course, in hour 2, we're going to have more computer and technology news and do-it-yourself, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. That wraps it up. Thank you all so much for being with us here tonight, and Ben and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. And again, don't forget to check out ComputerAmerica.com. We've got all those great things. Check out all the great stuff at ComputerAmerica.com. We'd love to see you there. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone.
10 seconds.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Thanks for watching us on our live Computer America video stream, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow night. Good night, all. No, you're on mute.
Oh, good night, everyone.
Bye.